and
Live.
and we're live on two networks, actually, YouTube and Facebook. So I wanted to
Awesome.
say hello and welcome to Elaine Ballas. Welcome to the Jimmy Deal Show. I'm Doc G, of course, and Jimmy Deal.
Hey,
And
Elaine.
this is Mika. Say
Mika
hi,
and
Great
Mika.
to
Mika.
Hey,
have you.
Mika.
Hi, Mika.
Mika, say hi.
Hi,
She's
Mika.
absolutely
Oh,
beautiful. Love her.
Adorable.
she
Adorable
is.
dog.
She's a model and a star.
Absolutely.
It's just so hot for her though these days. So, do you want to get down? Okay, I think she'll be back. Not to worry.
She needs one of
Um.
those little stars on Hollywood Boulevard
Oh, I know. I know. I have one of
with a
those
doggy
stars
prints in there.
somewhere.
Absolutely.
Not
Well,
a real one. Do you know that they cost like $50,000 or something?
I know. Yeah, it's not easy to get one of those things.
You're gonna get one?
I'd love to get one, but you know what? I don't think that'll ever happen. But that would be a really cool thing to have. They're
Well,
very
not
expensive.
only does it cost that much money, but I mean, you have to be accepted. They have to say, "Yeah, we want you."
Exactly. Well, they better start tuning into Hamilton radio.
Well, you should have your own walk of fame.
There you go. That would
Jimmy, that would
work.
be good, Jimmy, if you had something like that.
That'd be great. I would like that. Well,
Have
congratulations,
your
Elaine.
own walk of fame.
Yes, on your new book. I want to talk about your new book.
Okay, my book. This
How
is
to
the
write a
best.
book. Camp Elaine style. Tell us, what is Camp Elaine style?
Okay, what this is, let's see, here we go. And this was Oreo. He passed almost a year ago, but he was my soulmate. And
Mhm.
what happened was when we started out writing the book, it was just going to be for fun.
Right.
And then the pandemic hit. Then all the civil unrest done hit. And then they started changing history. They were taking down different statues and they were rewriting history,
Right.
verbiage changed, everything changed. So, anyway, I decided, well, if everything's changing, I'll change too. So, what started off as just kind of a fun gag thing is now a way of writing your own story. And so, here is Rodney Allen Rippey and me and Oreo. And he helped me with the pictures that we had in the book. So I'll
Hmm.
show you this a couple of pictures in here. If I could find them, it would be there. The one of Oreo,
Oh,
and then the one at the end, which is this one. So basically, this is divided into 10 chapters. And the most important thing, which you've heard in every seminar, everything that you've ever heard or read, is that showing up is the most important thing.
That's right.
So, chapter 1, it says, okay, and in life you have to move forward. So, here it is. Chapter 1. Let's see, I guess you can't really see it too well, but it says, congratulations, you showed up. Now, take out an implement, pen, pencil, crayon, anything you want, and start writing. So, anyway, that's the most important thing, showing up and then getting started. And then throughout the book, I am your cheerleader and guide for you to write your story in your own handwriting with whatever implement you choose to write it in.
Oh, that
And
sounds
then
good.
at the end, I'm not going to give all the chapters away, but in the end, it says, congratulations, you did it or not. So if you don't want to write it, I'm cheering you on, but I can only be your cheerleader. I can't write your story.
Right.
You have to write your story because I don't know what your story is. So when you pass on or whatever, there will be a legacy in your handwriting, and no one can change what you felt, what you thought, and what you wrote. I
Wow.
mean, they could cross it out and write over it, but it's not in your writing anymore.
Exactly.
So they have to do it in their writing.
Hmm. Very nice.
And I just cheer you along. and a happy picture at the end. Mel, this is the best part. Mel sent me his book, which is
Wow.
all about me. Well, it's actually all about him, but anyway, and I sent him an autographed copy of my book. But as you can see here, the difference in our careers. His is like over 500 pages, mine's 50. So
Oh, wow.
there you go.
Well,
But I have something else which is so exciting. I must tell you about this. This
Okay.
is called, and I don't know if you can see it. It might be too bright or something. The lighting isn't right. But this is for everybody. I swear to you, this is the best product I think I've ever used. It's called 2-Minute Wrinkle Reducer. And you can go on their website. And I got a deal for everybody today because I'm always into deals. If they use my name, Elaine, and the number 20, my age, in my dreams maybe. But anyway, if they use that, they'll get a 20% discount. So it's really good, and it works. It truly works, because I used it on one eye, and the guy goes, "Oh my goodness." He goes, "I can really see the difference." I said, "But I'm doing a podcast. I can't go on with one eye kind of drooping and the other eye looking good." So I said, "You've got to give me some for the other eye." And so he goes, "Okay, I'll give you some for the other eye." I go, "As a matter of fact, give me the whole thing and let's get everybody a discount." So they're doing that. They're going to give everyone a 20% discount. So go to www.2, the number 2-Minute Wrinkle Reducer, and it totally works. And the best part was, like, I don't know, I have puffy eyes all the time, and this absolutely reduced it in 2 minutes. I was shocked.
Oh, nice.
So it's totally, totally worth it.
Right. Well, what a better place to get a deal than the Jimmy Deal Show, of course.
Absolutely. That's why I got it for all your fans.
That's awesome.
And
So
we're gonna
awesome.
give it to Doc so his eyes will be open.
Yeah.
No, that's never going to happen. My eyes are pretty much the way they are. I've always been told I was more look like a Japanese or Asian guy. Never Italian, Jimmy. And we were never Italian.
Really?
Always
Well, you
Asian
might
or
have it. Have
Japanese.
you ever had your DNA done?
I have a little bit of Cherokee in me, but that's it. That's the only thing I know.
Really?
The rest is almost 100% Italian. Half
Wow.
Barry and half Abruzzi. So half
Amazing.
Paredes, half Bruzzes.
Ah,
My uncle used to
what
say.
nationality are you, Elaine?
Elaine.
You know, I think I'm just plain old American.
Plain old American. All right, that works.
I know, but you know what? It's really funny because my last name is spelled Ballace.
Mhm.
And so a lot of people think it's Balachi. And I love Italian food. So I don't know, but I've never had that 23andMe or any of those done, because I don't know. I figure maybe there's somebody I'm related to I don't want to be related to.
Yeah, I guess
But
it's not
I
always a good
did
idea
do
to
a
do those
show
things.
called, this is really interesting. I did do a show called My Father.
Mhm.
And what it was about was, I don't know if you remember or not, but there was a doctor. It was either, I think it was in the Midwest somewhere, where people would go in for invertal, what do they call it? Invertal. Well, so the in vitro, that's it.
Okay.
In vitro fertilization. There we go. I knew I would get it. And so anyway, he ended up using his own sperm, and he's got, like, I don't know how many hundreds of kids.
Oh, wow.
And they were all within the same area. So now they have to be careful when they're going, because some of them got together. This one girl got together with a lot of her siblings.
Mhm.
And one of the mothers said, "Okay, be careful when you go to the dance, because she may be related to you." And so it was really interesting. doing the movie, and she was there, the girl was there, and she did her story about it, and it's scary. So I just decided, you know what, I don't think I ever want to do 23andMe or whatever, those other ones are, because I don't know whom I'm related to, and maybe it's better that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Elaine, just one before you start anything. Connie wants to know, how long does the face cream last?
You know what? I don't know exactly, because I just tried it today. But they say it usually lasts about, I don't know. The print is way too small to read. So I don't know, but it should last at least, let's see, it's already been 3 hours, and it still looks good. So I think it would probably last maybe 8 hours.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So if they want to get it, absolutely. And then if they want to get my book so they can start writing their story and how they look young and beautiful, Beauty Hints by Elaine.
Tell us how to
That'll
get
be
the
my
book.
next.
How do you get the book, Elaine?
Okay, they can write to me, Elaine Ballas, Ballace, at P.O. Box, like in the old days when they had commercials where you sent the money to the P.O. Box. P.O. Box 50082, Studio City, California 91614.
Okay, fantastic. So now if we
Nice.
get anybody who wants the book, we know how to get the book to them.
They can
Absolutely.
write to me, yes, and it will be personally autographed,
Wow, there
and
you go.
shipping and everything only $40, because they're
Oh,
getting a
great.
deal for your show.
Absolutely. Another deal on the Jimmy Dale show.
I mean, it's all about deals.
That's what it is.
It's all about deals.
Elaine, I wanted to ask you about, you started your showbiz career on ice. Tell us about that.
Well, I started off as a professional ice skater at age 8. And back
Mm-hmm.
in those days, there was a big difference between amateur and pro. As a matter of fact, they wouldn't even let you earn any money. It didn't matter if it was skating or just acting or anything. You couldn't earn any money if you wanted to be an amateur skater. And I started doing commercials.
Oh, wow.
And so no, actually, I think I did ice skating shows first, and then I did the commercials. So either way, I couldn't earn any money. Now they can earn money, and as a matter of fact, they even have sponsors.
Right.
And so it was just, I started off with like really big stars, because back in those days they had ice capades and Holiday on Ice and ice volleys.
Mm-hmm.
And this was what they called a tank show. So it was on a small surface. And I was 8 years old, and I was skating with top pros from all three shows. So it was really fun. And I love doing shows. I love performing. And that's why after you get to a certain age, you realize, you know what? The mind knows what the body can't do anymore.
Right.
But I've taken the same perseverance and tenacity into acting. And although I mean, it's been years that I've skated, but I just feel that I love the performance end of it, and if I'm going to do anything, it has to be at 150%. So I've worked just as hard at acting as I have at skating, only no falls. Well, maybe sometimes you stumble and fall,
Right.
but you're not going to hurt yourself. You might hurt your career, but you're not going to hurt yourself as badly. But it's different. It's very different. And I knew the tricks and stuff. And also in skating, I was primarily a soloist. So it was just me and the ice. And
Mm-hmm.
you just had to work as hard as you could. And, but if anything goes wrong in your program, then okay, first blame the ice, then blame your equipment. It's never your fault. So it's different. And people say, oh, well, do you still skate? And the answer is basically no. I can't even lean over to lace up my skates. No, I'm working on it. But
Right.
and after a while, you just can't really do the stuff that you did, and so it's very frustrating to just go and skate around and do little things as opposed to all the spins. And I don't mind not doing all the drums, but all the spins that you can't do and all the other things going into different you know moves, the footwork and stuff like that, because you're just
Wow.
skating, I will say honestly, is the most unforgiving sport in the world. I mean, it will tear you up. And the longer you stay away and the older you get, the worse it is to you. It's just not kind if you've left it. It goes, you left me, I'll show you. I tell people it's easier to cheat on a spouse or somebody than to leave ice skating and try and come back as you get
Mm.
older, because it's unforgiving.
Wow. I was looking at your Facebook page a little while ago, and somebody put up a magazine with an ice skater. Was that you in that picture?
I know, that was so funny. Somebody, I oftentimes was involved with community, local government and stuff like that.
Right.
And one of the council members said, "Oh, I see that you were in Playgirl." And I go, "Yeah, Playgirl, not Playboy." And I was like close to the centerfold, I think. But it was for women in sports. And so it was so many years ago. I don't even know what year it was. And
Wow.
somebody actually, I had no idea where the magazine was or what happened to it. And someone found the magazine and put it up. There's Stanley, my good friend, Stanley Livingston, who played Chip
Yeah.
on My
Yep.
Three
Yep.
Sons.
So
Yep.
awesome.
Really nice guy. You're not going to find a nicer man anywhere. He's just terrific
Wow.
and very funny.
Wow. You also graduated from USC, right, with a degree in psychology?
Fight on for Oldesy. Fight on in victory. Yes, I went there because I went to a private school,
Right.
K through 12, and I love football. And so I figured I'm going to USC because they had great football.
Mhm.
And at the time, now it's not so great. But I only applied to two schools because both UCLA and SC had good football at the time. And I just liked the acceptance. I got accepted to SC on a Saturday and UCLA on a Monday, but I liked the acceptance thing better. And SC is red and gold, and UCLA is blue and gold, and I liked red better. So I went to SC and graduated. Actually, I took as many courses as I could, but my degree was in psych, and I worked as a therapist for a little while and then
Really?
realized, I don't know. It's really hard because mental health has many layers and levels, and there were a lot of things that I couldn't adapt to. And I also, it's like anything else. If they came to me with a problem and it was just the everyday neurotic problem or whatever, you can usually fix it if they want to be fixed, and then, go about your business. But when you're dealing with hardcore psychotics and their issues, it's so different. And I was too young, really. I think I was only 19 or 20 at the time that I was doing it. And I just thought, oh, this is, I mean, academically, I could understand. But when I was there at um, the place, and I'd say, like, one day I came in late and I said, "Well, what's wrong?" And they said, "Oh, well, she got arrested last night, or she was picked up last night." And I go, "For what?" And they said, "Oh, she was caught having sex with her 2-year-old child or son." And it was like,
Oh. Wow.
and they told me that was the wrong response. I go, "I think I'm out of here." I mean,
Yeah.
I understand academically, that there are these issues, but personally, I couldn't. It was just too hard on me. I just like, I couldn't I couldn't really understand how anybody could do it. I mean, I know what the textbooks say, but in my heart, like I said, I always have to have the aha syndrome, and it was just, this is not for me, you know.
Exactly.
But I was glad I realized it in undergrad, and really fought when I was at SC to have students who thought they wanted to go into clinical psychology have to
Mhm.
work with patients before they got to grad school, and maybe even graduated before they even worked with a patient, and then realized this isn't for me. So I really pushed to get it for undergrads as well. I don't know if they still have that program, but they did when I was there. And it was just, it's really sad. I mean, when they talk about mental health, there's so many issues out there that people don't even know about, you know, or aren't aware or don't want to be aware of. And they always say, "Oh, well, you know, they're homeless because they're druggies or whatever." But it's not just a matter of being a druggie, or, you know, that they got strung out or anything. I mean, there are some deep-rooted issues, and they were probably on medications, and they were probably just not getting really good help or anything. And, you know, it's much more complex than people believe, you know, or understand. So, well, okay, maybe urban studies. And so I did some graduate work in urban studies and tried to figure out, well, maybe we can like get the communities to be better or whatever. And then I thought, well, maybe law, maybe, you know, a social worker, maybe I can help somebody. And then I just decided, you know what, the best gift I could give them would be laughter. So hence
Right.
comedy, which is, I feel, my forte, and acting. And then maybe if I can make people laugh, you know, they'll be happier. The
I
rest
have
of
a
What?
us
question
will
for you.
only
Go
give
ahead, Doc.
people enough.
I have a question because I did ask Roy this before though. The shows that you did in the '70s, like Hawaii Five O, Eight Is Enough, and Quincy M.D., what did you take from them, and how was some of them people that worked in there as the
What,
actors and producers that we know?
well, it was really fun because start with Eight is enough, because Dick Van Patten did several movies with Mel Brooks. He was in Robin Hood Men in Tights, and he was in I'm trying to think because I know I did too. It was either Life Stinks or Dracula Dead and Loving It, but he was definitely in Robin and Tights. So it was really kind of fun to see him again. And Jack
Hmm.
Klugman is just a hoot, you know, and he was really funny, and I mean such an accomplished actor. And the thing that I guess again I will always give skating credit is that the discipline. And Jack Klugman really expects you to be a disciplined actor and professional at every level. So that was really good. And Hawaii Five O, I did not. I don't know if I had any scenes with Jack Lord. I did meet him, but I think most of my work was with Jimmy Carter. And I mean, his mother is an institution, well, his father too, you know, were
Right.
institutions. His mom was Elaines.
Of
And
course.
so, the nicest guy in the world, very professional, very kind to everybody on the set. So I feel very privileged to have been able to say that I worked with people whom I truly believed were stars. I mean, now when people say, "Oh, what about the stars?" And it's like, I'm not even sure who many of them are anymore or anything, you know, it's so different. But back in
Right.
those days, you kind of knew, oh, this is a star, you know, and they
Yeah,
carried themselves differently. And it was a very different time and different world, really. And I
Right.
kind of miss that. That's one of
okay,
the reasons I love going to the Hollywood Museum, which I'll kind of segue into
Yeah.
that, is because it's in the old Max Factor building, and you just feel all the ghosts and the energy of the people who were there. But Janelle Dadigan, who owns it, and I call it her second home, and she's so kind to invite us to her home, has preserved so much of old Hollywood that it's so great. And I really think that anyone who comes to LA, if they're a tourist or even if they live here and have never been there, should go, because it's so amazing to see where Lucy became a redhead, Marilyn Monroe was blonde, and there are all the different rooms and the artifacts and the displays, and it's a wonderful place for everybody to attend, not just one time, because the exhibits change all the time. So right now I think the main exhibits are, well, the Ghostbusters. They just did something with our gang because it was 100 years,
Hmm.
and they had Little Rascals, and they had one of the guys actually from there, and I can't remember his name, but I think his picture. I don't know if I even put his picture up yet or not, but his picture, and when he was in our gang, and it was great. And Little Rascals, and Hal Roach's daughter was there, and it
Wow.
was so interesting to hear her stories, and growing up in Beverly Hills when her dad was like so famous, and she said that she also worked for a very famous publicist, Jay Bernstein, who
Oh,
made Farrah Fawcett and Lee Majors,
Hmm.
and he even uh handled so many, Suzanne Summers after Farrah, and a few others. And so it was really interesting. I said, boy, you really had the showbiz market cornered.
Yeah.
So she has a lot of wonderful guests, that come, and the exhibits that are there, the Batman,
Yeah.
Catwoman, Back to the Future. And then she always has the reel to reel in June for Pride Month. And it's just, I mean, I've met so many wonderful people, including the Pointer Sisters, and they had an exhibit there, and they still have part of the exhibit. I think not the whole floor anymore, but they still have part of their exhibit there with their costumes. And Bob Mackie even made some of their costumes, so that was great. And it's just wonderful. So if you ever come to California, you must go to the Hollywood Museum. It's right there on Highland, and it's across the street and down the street from where they do the Oscars.
Right. Yeah. Great place. I've been
Hollywood.
there. Yeah. Very nice place. I know. I love the Batman exhibit there. It's absolutely beautiful. The Batmobile and the costumes and all that type of thing.
The Batmobile's still there. At
Is it?
least it
Oh,
was.
cool.
Yeah, it was last week I saw the Batmobile.
Nice. You
So
know,
it's still there.
talking about growing up in Hollywood, you had went to school with a lot of celebrities. I wanted to talk about that. I know you knew uh, Mrs. Martindale, right?
Absolutely. Sandy Farah, that was
Sandy.
her
Yeah.
maiden name. And I always wanted to be Sandy growing up. I just thought she was perfect, and plus she went with Elvis,
That's right.
so
Yeah.
that was great. But I will say Elvis did get around, because there were several other women who were at HPS who also dated Elvis.
Yeah.
So he got around, the boy got around. But that school was great. Brenda Lee went there, and Mickey Rooney Jr. went there, and Timmy, and Mickey Rooney Jr. just passed, but his father went there, and that's how actually it all got started, was with his dad and Judy Garland, and it was called the Hollywood Conservatory.
Hmm.
And then Mrs. Mann and her husband, Mr. Mann, ended up buying this school, but the school was started because they didn't have schools on the lot, and the kids needed to go to school. The state said they need to be educated. I think they probably had a better education on the law. Just going through Hollywood, and the struggles and everything. So but let's see, the Beach Boys, some of the Beach Boys went there. The Sunrays, several of the Sunrays went there.
Wow.
The Cowsills, let's see, Butch Patrick, I
Oh,
think
Butch
it was
Patrick.
a Duncan show or something. Someone show. He went there. Mackenzie Phillips,
Mhm.
and who's just a sweetheart. She's attended several of the reunions that we had, but unfortunately, like everything else, things get torn down. So the reunions were at the Sportsman's Lodge in the Valley because every year they would have the annual dinner there, and that's when you would get your school annual, and it was from like fifth or sixth grade to anybody, and so they tore that down to build a mini mall.
Oh,
Go
wow.
figure, just what we need, another mini mall.
Another mini mall.
Los
Yeah.
Angeles.
Yeah, and so that got torn down, the school got torn down, and now it's, one of those new projects that they have, like, back east where they have the ground floor with businesses, and then upstairs they have, living quarters and stuff, but we really wanted to get the school as a historical monument, but then I guess during the earthquake in the 90s, I think it was 94, when that happened and the building really didn't last too well, um, I think it still could have been retrofitted, and fixed, but they just tore it down. When the woman who owned it, Mrs. Mann, passed, her nieces got the building because her only heir had already passed long before that. He was killed in a car crash. And
Oh, wow.
so they just got rid of all the property in Hollywood, and so there it went. So without anything to hold on to, it's just not the same. So there everyone says, "Oh, do you think they'll have any more reunions?" And it's like, I doubt it. I mean, they might, but they would just be parties. It wouldn't be the same thing because we would hold it in the room that they had the annual dinner. So it was great.
Oh, nice. Now, you did 4 movies with Mel Brooks. And tell us about your relationship with Mel Brooks. You're still pretty close with him, right?
I am. I still call all the time and go, "How are you doing? When are you going to do another movie?" And I always get, "I'm 96." Well, you're not 97 yet. He is probably, without a doubt, the greatest person in the whole world. He's absolutely brilliant, funny, really the funniest man I know, and really the kindest man. He's so kind and generous and just wonderful. And it was really cute because when he sent me his book, an autographed copy of it, so I sent him a autographed copy of my book, and he called up, he goes, "Elaine, you're crazy." But he goes, "I must tell you, it is one of the most clever ideas ever." And so at first they go, "Why are there so many blank pages?" And I go, "That's for you to write your story." So I told Mel, since he already wrote his story once, this would be volume 2. He could just condense it.
Mhm.
A shorter story, a short story for the end.
Right. He's a comic
But
genius.
he's the best. There's nobody better. He's so bright, and for years I used him as my doctor. "Mel, I've got a pain here or there or whatever. And even Carl Reiner used him as a doctor a couple times and said, "Mel, I've got this pain. I think I better go to the hospital." Mel goes, "It's just gas. It's fine." Sure enough, Carl would go to the hospital and they go, "Oh, it's just gas." So it was, but he's just really just an icon that I don't think will ever, you
Yeah.
know, be matched or replaced or anything.
A lot of great work on Broadway, too. Unbelievable.
The
Yeah.
producers, I think it still holds the record for the most
Yep.
Tonys.
Sure. Nathan Lane. Great job in that.
Oh,
Also, I
it was
wanted to ask you
great.
about our buddy Shadow Stevens. You know Shadow.
I do. As a matter of fact, he played my secret love interest on the show The Rich and the Ruthless, which is streaming on BET Plus, all 4 seasons. And he was so much fun to work with. I must say at first I was like really intimidated because it's like, "Oh my God, Shadow Stevens." And he was such a big name in commercials and stuff here
Sure.
that it was, amazing. And he's got just the most gorgeous family. And his oldest daughter acts. And then she just had, well, the second baby is already a year old, and I think the first one's maybe 3. And I mean, I've never seen more beauty. And when they send you a Christmas card, it's like, oh my God, beauty overload. It's just great. And his wife, Beverly, used to be a model.
Oh
So,
wow.
they have that going, and Shadow and the jeans. And I don't know, I want their jeans. How do I get their jeans? Where do you buy them?
Tell us
But they
about the
were
rich and the ruthless.
the
The
rich
rich
and the
and the
ruthless.
ruthless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
The Rich and the Ruthless is really kind of a parody of what goes on behind the scenes of a soap opera.
Hmm.
And so it's really fun. It was created by Victoria Rowell, who was on The Young and the Restless. And
Hmm.
so I mean, she was on there for, I think, 14 years. And so she knew everything going in and out. And it was such a blended cast that I mean, you hear so much about, race or this or that. Nobody knew. I mean, they didn't even know if you were really working that day or not. People just, because everyone loved each other so much, they just showed up and they go,
Right.
"Oh, I didn't know you were working today." "Oh, I'm not. I'm just here hanging." So it was just wonderful. And it's really fun because now, I mean, with the pandemic, things have changed so much. I mean, not just in Hollywood, but I think everywhere. And I did a movie called I only do Dracula movies. Dracula Dead and Loving It. And this one's called Tim Lee's Dracula Bride of Horror. And I just play the comic relief, which is
Uh-huh.
fine. And so what's great is now many of the film festivals, because he did the film festivals first, and then it's going to be released, I think, in October. And then they're also doing the music video of called Rockula
Hmm.
as part of it. And so it'll all be out around Halloween time. But we've already won one of the Venice film festivals, and I think we won another film festival too. And then we were accepted into like 3 or 4 other film festivals. So the jury's out. We're still waiting to hear on those. But that
Wow.
one was really fun. And then I'm still waiting to hear, hopefully, fingers crossed, that Camp Elaine is going to be picked up with a new network called Misfit TV. So it's definitely there, but when you're starting a network, I guess it's a little bit different, a little more difficult. So they have to kind of get everything in order, and then we're going to start shooting.
Oh, that's
So
great.
that's
That's
going to
great.
be fun. Everybody's now gonna have to worry because gosh only knows who may end up in the show, or what incident's gonna happen, because most of the time things that happen in my life, people go, "Huh?" And I go, "I know you can't write this and you can't make it up." So I told him, I go, "Just get a camera and follow me around. You'll see. You'll see for yourself." And so beware. If a camera is facing you, something's bound to happen.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember talking to you on the phone, and I told you I had just gotten back from Vermont. I was on a little vacation in Vermont, and we were talking about Bernie Sanders, and you played Bernie
I
Sanders' wife.
did. I did. As a matter of fact, this is so funny. I played Bernie's wife, and
Hmm.
it's called Free Lunch Express. That won tons of awards, that
Hmm.
movie. In Berlin, in Canada. I think it got an honorable mention in Russia. But in Berlin it won, in Canada it won, and one other country it won. And that movie was so funny. It really was great. And so one of the producers I see on Twitter, so I always say, "Well, how's our movie, Free Lunch Express?" And he goes, "Elaine, we're having a premiere. We're having a premiere." And so they were supposed to have had a premiere in Las Vegas, but I don't know,
Hmm.
something happened and they canceled it. And then he goes, "Elaine, we're going to do it in LA." I go, "I'm here. I'm here. I think it would be fun to see it on the big screen. It's always more fun when you see, a movie, a feature that you've done on the big screen than on your phone or, just in a little thing on the web or whatever. I guess some people who have big screen TVs know how to hook stuff up, but I am so technically challenged. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
I have
So
a
I
couple
Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead, Doc.
couple comments because I'm looking at some of the chat things, and my friend Prince Fleet Easton, he said that he was just with Wink and
I
Candy.
worked with him too.
He's such a great guy. He's a good friend of mine. He said he didn't know Mickey Jr. died. He hasn't seen him for a while, and he was so sad when they tore down the Sportsman Lodge.
It was really an iconic place. Yeah. Mickey Rooney Jr. died, I think it was last week. And it was kind of a shock because for the last 2 or 3 reunions, we were really trying to find him. And it was finally we kind of got close, and then, they tore down the Sportsman's Lodge, and that was kind of it. But yeah. But I did ask him what the name of the show was that we did together with Velvet Rhodes. It was her series.
I'll ask him. But Tom Payton says hello, and John is, and Jimmy knows who he is, and John Terlizzi is out there watching us. He
Hey,
says,
John.
John, our
How are you, John?
agent. It's
Your
about
agent.
time he wrote, right?
Yeah, and John's getting ready to debut his show here on Hamilton Radio, right?
I
Doc?
Yeah,
understand.
next week.
That's going to be exciting. Do you think he'll have all of us as a guest?
Yeah, I hope he
All
has
his
me as a guest.
clients.
Probably eventually, yeah. Yeah, he's got Norman Fox from the Rob Roys as one of his first guests. Hopefully he can make it. And,
Nice.
yeah.
That's going to
Well,
be
he
a great
should
show.
have all of us and Jerry Petito.
Yeah,
He should
absolutely.
be on as
I'm
well.
sure she's going to be part of it. So
Yeah, you know what?
Well,
I
I'm
was
glad John's watching. Hi, John.
John, great to have you with us.
yes, it is.
Absolutely. And we're all going to come be on your show. That will be fun.
Well, I wanted to ask you more about the Miss Elaine Misadventures at Camp Elaine because that really intrigued me. This is part and parcel of what you are, right? This is like something
Exactly. And people just, they can't believe that these things happen. And to recreate a lot of it is, for example, there was one episode in the Misadventures of Camp Elaine, and I wanted to join a gym. And they say that they ask you all these questions about, joining, and it's like, if you've had like a hip replacement, a knee replacement, a shoulder, any kind of surgeries, you have to sign off, and you have to get your doctor to sign off, and you can't just go to a gym to work out yourself. It was so funny. So I did a whole parody on that about, trying to join a gym. And that was one of them. Another one was just like trying to be an actress and what you go through, and you think everything's going great, but maybe somebody like leaves with your money, the producer doesn't pay you or something like that. So it's like a lot of stuff that happens in show business, and a lot of times just taking odd jobs to kind of fill in, until you're actually working or something like that. But the one thing I did notice was when I did do other jobs that, never a real job. I've never had a real job. It's either been skating, acting, modeling, or, some kind of demo work or something. Oh no, it's called brand ambassador now. Sorry. And when I would do it, I would really realize a lot of the stuff that went on. As a matter of fact, I think I used one of the brand ambassador things that I did in one of the misadventures, and what people would say and do. And it was really funny because I did do a coffee one, and they go, well, what's your favorite flavor? Which do you recommend? I go, I don't know, I don't drink coffee. And they go, well, how can you be doing this? And then they get really mad at you, and I go, listen, if I drank coffee, there would be no samples for you. I would have taken all the samples for myself, So that one's really fun. And I was a fit model, and people say, what's that? And it's like, well, when people have a fit going shopping. But years ago, they still use them somewhat, but not like they did back in the day, where they actually use models that were more human, should I say, as opposed to the tall, skinny models that people just it the clothes doesn't really fit. And many times now I look and I think, you know, excuse me, I think I'm more the body now that I was modeling for than when I was modeling, because I was much thinner then. But there's a big difference in like Missy, petite, junior, and everyone thinks petite means small and skinny, which it doesn't. It just means shorter or vertically challenged. And like the difference in the neck or your high hip or whatever, and the difference between your waist and where your high hip would be or your low hip. And people think, oh, we'll just wear higher heeled shoes or this, but it doesn't change your body proportions. And so it's a matter of being proportioned right. And I did that for years, like 20 years. And I even did it on some of the networks, like I did it for the JC Penney channel. And I tried to explain to people, like when they go to buy clothes, and now it's so hard because I don't think they use a lot. I know, I doubt they're using any petite fit models, because I know exactly what's wrong. It's like, no, that should have been, done this way or that way or the other way. And so it's now just wear sweats. Get it. They're not going to fit anybody anyway. Just try and do the best you can. And it's really bad to go shopping with me, because I know exactly what's wrong when it doesn't fit. And you take all these clothes into the dressing room and they go, well, and I go, well, they didn't fit. And they kind of look at you and you don't even want to hear what's wrong. And I mean, one of the things that's really important for women so that they don't beat themselves up is, like, if they're shorter or whatever, the rise in their pants. And they have to make it shorter and kick it out more so there's more room, because there isn't as much distance and their bodies get rounder sooner. And so it doesn't also make you look like you have a flat butt. I mean, I kind of do anyway, I have a flat butt, but I mean, clothes can really not fit. And then also the other problem usually is in the sleeves. There's usually never enough cap on the sleeve, and there's too much body and not enough sleeves. So I know all the things that are wrong, and so I'm the worst person to go shopping with. It's like, no, just whatever. Yeah, I try not to be as critical, but you can't help it. It's like ingrained in me. And I mean, I was really good, because after a while I could tell within an eighth of an inch if something were off. And so they'd go, huh? They go, no. And then they'd measure it and I'd be right. So I was pretty proud of that. I like that. But it's even interesting with men. And the other thing you have to do is you have to really try everything on and don't worry about the size. I mean, once you can get past what size things are, because you don't really know, and where they're made, their body types are different. Like when stuff started being made in China, for example, and they think that they're petite, but they really aren't, because they're, according to American standards, their torsos are very long and they have very short legs. So even though they're like maybe 5'3", we'll say, a woman is 5'3", her body proportions are very different. So when they would send the stuff, outsource it to say China or somewhere to be sewn, or send the patterns and they'd be made there, there was always, not always, but oftentimes there were problems, because their body type is just different.
Right.
And so you have to really kind of, like they say, know your market. And
Right.
so I have, tell everybody, I have a plethora of knowledge that most people don't care about.
How do you stay so positive and happy and such a great attitude?
It's always like that.
Oh, right here, I have wonderful dogs. First I had Oreo and now I have Mika. So you have to be positive or they get upset. No, they
Amazing,
really
beautiful.
do. They understand, like if you're down or crying or anything, they're right there licking your face.
Hmm.
Ha, aren't you? The so no, the and it's I canceled television because I didn't want to hear all the news. But you still see it when you turn on your phone or your computer. But you just have to try and find the things that make you happy and make you want to do what find your passion. And I think that's one of the reasons I really am eager to get back to doing Camp Elaine, because to me it's just funny and I have a great sense of humor and I'm able to laugh at myself. So I mean, when I do things, people just go, oh my God, that's just such a Campy Lane moment. And I really do want to, continue doing that. And really, I think the most important thing is laughter. And it really helps because there's so much in the world to be sad about right now.
Exactly.
Every day you hear about someone that you either knew or was in your life in some way, who had passed, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then you're going through your childhood, and then you're young adulthood, then adulthood,
Yeah.
and it's, oh, can't we just stop the deaths for a while? Please. So, yeah, but I recommend getting a dog.
Yeah. Well, I have a cat. The cat works the same way.
Oh, but aren't cats more aloof or no?
Well, they're so loving though, and
Oh,
they
good.
know exactly what's going on in your life. They know if you're sad, just like a dog. They know if you're happy. They're always happy to see you when you walk in, just like a dog.
Always, yeah. You know, um, I used to tell people though, like with Oreo, if I had to leave, he would give me the look, and it's like I go, if anyone needs to rent a Jewish mother, he would be perfect to make you feel guilty for leaving. He had
Exactly.
it down, the look of, you mean you're gonna leave me?
Yeah.
I
I get that
have
all the
not
time.
left Mika, but she's really young. She's only 7 months old, but I haven't left her alone yet. I'm afraid if I left her alone, I'm not sure I would come home to a home. She would tear it apart. I had a beagle once, and I had just moved into an apartment, and he was just not having me leave him home alone, and he ripped the curtain, threw everything off the table, got on the table, and you know how beagles can howl? Oh! And people thought I was like so mistreating this dog. He was so spoiled. But he was wonderful. I mean, I just love all my dogs and miss the two that have passed. It's
Yeah, it's rough.
even though they say get another dog, it's not
Not
the
so
same
easy.
personality or anything.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
someone who's very close to you who dies, you can't just replace that person.
Right. Right.
So,
Well, we're
Yeah.
going to end it soon, Elaine. But Jimmy, any last thoughts for Elaine?
Well, you know what? I wanted to ask you real quick about your movie you did, Love Without Hairs. Tell us about that in 2020.
well, that one was really interesting. And the thing about that one was, I did finally see it. They had a screening, and so seeing it on the big screen made such a difference. That's why if there is a feature movie and you can go see it on a big screen, definitely go see it on a big screen. That one was just it was so it was done in the summer and it was really hot anyway, but there were just the two of us, and
Hmm.
it was just all dialogue. It came from a play. Raphael Buñuel, and his father was the famous director, and it was just 110 pages of dialogue and with
Wow.
only two people. And luckily we had rehearsals for about 3 months before we shot it.
Hmm.
And it's, I think, 87 or 97 minutes. And I'm not even sure if it's still on Amazon Prime or not, but that was a lot of work and it was fun. And I mean, it was like I said, a lot of dialogue and very different. I play a low end prostitute, and this John, and it's a matter of we only end up having each other.
Right.
So it was good. But like I said, when you're only working with one other actor, it gets, I mean, it's very intense.
Yeah. Any advice to
So,
anyone starting out in the business? Any advice to anyone starting out
no,
in the business?
no, you know what I tell people is that when it gets to the place that, in other words, the passion is so strong, and if you don't have the passion, don't do it, because
Mm,
there's going to be, I mean, like in life, there's a lot of disappointment, but especially in the entertainment field. And you're going to have to really have thick skin. You have to practice every day, no matter what you're doing.
exactly.
Um, if it's acting and you're just starting out, going to, acting classes or whatever. And I just say do as much work as you can do, and then maybe find your niche or what makes you happy. And if they're starting out, just know that, you may not hit a home run the first time at bat, and it could take a long time to hit it. And I don't know, I always do everything with, related to sports, and it's like, okay, you've got four downs, but it's kind of like life. I mean, I tell everyone it's just like life, and it's mainly like football, because sometimes you pass, you could pass on something, sometimes you're intercepted, sometimes you fumble, sometimes it's third and long, sometimes it's fourth and inches. You're so close, you can just get in or something. But I think tenacity, perseverance, and passion. I mean, if you don't have the passion for it, don't do it. Because there's going to be a lot of disappointment, and you're going to spend a lot of time, a lot of money. You're constantly trying to, just even if you're not writing your own stuff, you're recreating yourself, because you're not going to play the 20-year-old, all the time, or whatever. You may want to stretch as far as characters or something like that. And what people say is, oh, well, you're very good at comedy, but can you do drama? Well, if you can do comedy, you can do drama, but just because you can do drama doesn't mean you can do comedy. I
Right.
mean, you really have to have timing for comedy to work. And I compare that to skating, because skating, there's a lot of timing, when you're going into a spin or a jump, and things like that. So, and actually in life, it's all timing. Did you make the right choice at this time, or was there an opportunity at that time, or whatever? So I just think that if you want to go into acting or singing or dance or anything, skating even, I think you really just have to have the passion and know that it may or may not happen. And you just have to kind of accept what will be. And if you absolutely cannot leave it or do anything else, then you made the right choice.
Mm.
If you can
Absolutely.
walk away, then it wasn't for you.
Oh wow.
Great advice. Doc G?
Elaine, thank you for being here. I really,
Thank you. Thank you. It was so much fun. Your pool looks so refreshing.
yeah, I wish it
Yes.
was real. It's all fake. See, my hand disappears. It's fake.
Yeah.
But
Oh, but it looks very refreshing.
I
I'm ready
know,
to take
I
a
know. We
dive.
used to have a pool. It makes me really feel bad about it because we used to have a pool and we can't have one anymore. So,
Uh,
but one of them things. But thank you for being here. Is
yeah.
always a pleasure to have you, and we'll look forward to talking to you again very soon.
I hope so. And in October there'll be Tim Lee's Dracula, Bride of Horror, and Dracula Dead and Loving It. So I only
Oh,
do
great.
Dracula movies, no Frankenstein yet. And they can get my book
Right.
at, I don't know, maybe you can put up the address or something.
Why don't you
I
give
And
it to them
don't
again?
know how to do anything in this thing, so I'm sorry I can't.
oh,
do that.
okay.
Can you
Just
give it to
say
them again?
Say it. Say it.
Okay, I'll say it. It's Elaine, Elaine, Ballas, B as in boy, Allace, and it's P.O. Box 50082, Studio City, California 91614. And for all the viewers, it'll only be $40, and that will include the shipping and it being personally autographed.
Beautiful.
And for anyone who wants to get rid of puffiness or wrinkles, go to 2-minute wrinkle reducer.com and use Elaine 20 and you'll get a 20% discount. And I love it.
Yeah,
And
that
I think
doesn't.
you guys
That
are still
doesn't.
open, right?
As you said too, Elaine, that doesn't mean it's going to work for 2 minutes. It's going to work
It'll last for
minutes, but last
hours.
for hours, right? So I just want to
Yeah,
make
no,
sure
it lasts for hours. It takes about, you don't really notice it, but then at the 2-minute mark, you start just seeing a big difference. It's like a miracle.
That's modern technology today. So beautiful.
Oh, I know. I call it a microwave world we live in. And if it doesn't work within a microwave amount of time, then nobody's interested.
Yeah, instant. Everything's got to be instant. All right, thank you
All
again.
right, Elaine. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. Wait, and I'll get Mika.
Mika, say goodbye, Mika.
Say goodbye,
Mika.
Mika.
Bye, Mika.
She's
Oh,
absolutely beautiful.
adorable.
Bye,
She's
Mika.
tired. It's too hot for her.
Oh, well, keep her cool. Bye, Elaine. Take care.
Okay,
Bye,
bye-bye.
Elaine. Thanks
Thank
again. I
you.
appreciate it. I'll call you, Elaine.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Jimmy, what a great show. We got coming up some special people coming up in a couple minutes here.
Yeah, I mean, 7:15, we have Kyle Petty's going to be calling us. So that's going to be fun. We're going to chat with him about his new book. So I'm looking forward to that. And on Monday, we have Elvis's girlfriend's going to stop by, Diane Goodman. She'll be here, and we'll talk to her about her time with Elvis. So a lot of good people on the way and many, many more, too.
Beautiful. So I think we're going to be using this restream a lot more than any of the other ones. So let's concentrate on that. But I'll do the next show with restream too. So just hit that link again and you should be good.
Sounds good, Doc.
Thank everybody for being here.
Thank you, Tom. Tom was out there. Tom Payton, thank you so much.
Tom Payton. I tried to put this on your page. It wouldn't let me. So I just sent it to your Facebook Messenger, and then you could put it on there when you want to.
Okay, you got it. Thanks, Doc.
All right.
And I'll speak to you in a few minutes. Okay.
A couple minutes. I'll be right back. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.